And just like me, I'm sure many of you too will benefit from tonight's talk. By way of introduction, let me say something a little bit more about PD Kid. PD Kid is an engineer by training and an adventurer at heart. Not only has he conquered mountains, he has also successfully climbed the corporate ladder in a big multinational corporation. But despite these achievements, he has always been interested in entrepreneurship and wanted to set up his own business. Well, when he was introduced to the right business platform, he did what most engineers would do. He evaluated diligently. And once he made up his mind, there was no stopping him. While he learned the skills and knowledge, he worked together with a group of like-minded partners, including myself. I'm very fortunate. With a group of like-minded partners and grew his network, not just in Singapore, but into various countries, including Malaysia, Thailand, and Cambodia. This potent combination of his corporate skills and experience and his network marketing business skills now enables him to lead like-minded professionals on an adventure, of course, about health and wellness, and to scale new heights with them. So to share with you on the topic of entrepreneurship in a new normal tonight, I definitely have the pleasure in inviting our speaker for this evening, PD Kid. PD Kid, please.
Thank you, Lo Huang. It is a pleasure, to be back here again, to share my stories, and then in the process, I hope that I inspired some of you, to take that giant step, towards being an entrepreneur. So I would like my topic for tonight is this entrepreneurship in the new normal. Now, what we call new normal, this is definitely a new normal that we are all in. We are, for those who have been here long enough would realize that, the last 2 years has certainly been really not your norm. We've been so used to up and down cycles, but the last 2 years, I think everybody's kind of striving to find out how we can all thrive in the normal. Now, for those who know me, knows that I love to hear stories. Right? I also love to tell stories. And for me, there's just one story that I feel is very relevant to all of us in times of great changes like today. Now, this itself is the story of a bird. Now, I would say a happy bird. In fact, this bird lives on the beautiful island of Mauritius. Okay, you look at the picture, right? Does it look cute, plump? And it could not fly, but it was really a very contented bird. Now, it was happily living on the island of Mauritius for thousands of years. And that is until in year 1600, a ship arrived at the island carrying sailors from Holland. Now, as the bird did not know fear, it went out to happily greet these sailors. And what these sailors saw instead was not a cute bird, but food. Yeah, no, these birds were hunted for food. And more bad news was that, cats, pigs, rats, and dogs, they all that arrived on the ship, they also, ate this bird as food. And, in a matter of less than 100 years, none of these happy birds were left. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this bird is called a dodo. Now, and the story here is not really about a clumsy or a stupid bird. Now, after all, the dodo was doing just fine until we humans came along. The lesson for us here is change is really unpredictable. Right? Embrace change and adapt to the world as it is now, not as it was. And failure to do so, right? Failure to do so, you may just find your career or your business becoming extinct or obsolete very quickly, just like a dodo. Now, my friends, since last year, we've all been experiencing what I would term as like the mother of all changes. And this change is called COVID-19. Now, let's all just do a very simple exercise here right now. In the chat box that you have, now type A if you think that in 12 months' time, everything will go back to normal, just like the days before COVID-19, okay? Type A if you think that in 12 months' time, everything will just go back to like the good old days before. Or type B if you think that things will never go back to the way they were before. Now, type B if you have accepted the fact that you need to adapt to the change that is happening and that you need to find new ways to really thrive in this new normal. Yeah, just type your answers in the chat box very quickly. I'll give you a couple. Yeah, okay, I see a lot of B. No, I've not seen an A yet. Well, surely there's nobody thinks that, we are going to go back to the new normal. Yeah, true. Wow, some people put double B, triple B too. Yeah, indeed, I would say the whole global business landscape has changed very rapidly right before our very eyes. And the new normal is very quickly unfolding. So my takeaway here is like, no, do not become a dodo. Now, for those who do not know me, let me introduce myself again. My name is E-Kid. Most people just call me Kid. Now, I had my own scary change moment. That must be about 14 years ago. I still remember that year very vividly. It was year 2007. Now, it was the world financial crisis. Now, I learned a lesson that stayed with me right till today. Now, you see, I was a typical product of our education system, right? Study hard, get good grades, get a good job, work hard, get promoted, and work till you retire. Now, my mentality back then was, well, as long as I work hard and the company was doing all right, everything will be fine. Now, 2007 certainly proved me wrong. I learned that when change comes, it does not care how well your company is doing. Well, it does not even care how talented or how experienced or how skilled you are. Soon, the change will sweep in just like a big hurricane or typhoon, you call it. It destroys everything that's not fitting to the new environment that it is creating. And that year, I was lucky to survive that hurricane with my job still intact. Now, many of my friends and colleagues did not. Now, not because they were not capable, but simply because they do not fit into the new environment. Now, though I was lucky to keep my job, I learned a very deep lesson that year, that when change comes, it comes suddenly. Okay, no one is invulnerable. You may think that you're so valuable to your company that it makes you indispensable. Well, my friends, changes like what COVID-19 has brought about can make you irrelevant overnight, just like that. Now, I knew I had to prepare myself. Back then, I love reading. I started reading many self-help books. Attended a lot of courses back then, and guess what? I found a mentor in the form of Mr. Robert. Now, for those of you who recognize who Robert is, Robert is the author of the bestseller book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, from Robert's famous, what we now know as the cash flow quadrant, what I realized very quickly that, wow, I was smack right in the middle of what he called the employee quadrant. Now, what I was doing is I had a job. Nothing wrong with that. I was just exchanging time for money. But I knew that if I were to withstand all future hurricanes, I must find a way to very quickly move myself from what we call the employee quadrant to the business quadrant. Now, in the business quadrant, what is the difference? In the business quadrant, you would have a business system and people that you can leverage to work for and together with myself. Now, isn't that great idea, right? Now, just when I made up my mind that I want to become a business owner. No, just like I guess many of you right now who are kind of like thinking up options, right? The most important thing is what I learned with the universe is once you make up your mind, the law of attraction works in a very interesting way. So similarly, once I made up my mind that, wow, I must find a way out, then I was trying a couple of things. But what was interesting is I reconnected with an old friend. Now, someone that I had known for 27 years. Now, his name is Alvin Young. Now, by chance, one day, I saw Alvin posting his social projects on Facebook. Now, it was a life-changing initiative. It helped provide financial education to the children of poor farmers in Thailand, but in a very interesting manner. At heart, I love social projects. I love how to help people to help themselves. I really love the idea. Well, I immediately supported his projects with donations. Now, deep down, I've always aspired to live the kind of life that Alvin was doing, like traveling to third world countries, doing good, initiating and continuing projects that are sustainable, right, and make a difference in the world. It was changing the world for the better. It was changing lives for the better. But guess what? I was stuck in my job. I never have enough vacation days. Now, of course, I was very curious how Alvin was able to earn his living while spending so many months every year doing all these projects all over the world. So guess what? I decided to ask him out for dinner. And till today, I tell you, that was the dinner that, I've always felt was money most well spent. It was certainly a life-changing evening for myself. I learned from Alvin that evening how he built an Asia-wide enterprise. And it was this enterprise that actually provided him with both financial and time freedom. Now, that night was certainly the aha moment for me. I saw the glimpse of a possibility for me to cross over to the business quadrant. And that's really how I started my Avita journey with Alvin. And today I am happy to say that, I am an Avita network leader and entrepreneur. I lead professionals to channel their wealth of corporate experience on an entrepreneurial adventure of wealth, health, and wellness. And I climb new summits with them. Now, let me just share with you another story that I came across in the newspaper recently. Now, it mentioned that government, not just in Singapore, but all over the world, must learn how to manage what they call the K-shaped recovery of post-COVID-19. Now, what does a K-shaped recovery actually mean? This K-shaped recovery occurs when, after a recession, which we just had last year, different parts of the economy will recover at different rates. Now, this was because not all businesses are the same, right? Businesses like those in, for example, the technology, software, digital marketing, they are picking up rapidly. In fact, I would say last year was one of the best years for anything that has to do with online, right? While many industries, I guess you are familiar with even till today, travel, entertainment, hospitality, F&B, gig economies, wow, every one of them are finding it very challenging to survive. In fact, in Singapore, if not for the grants that is given out by the government, a lot of these, I would call small, medium enterprises or even small businesses will find it even more challenging. Now, I am sure that some of you out there are also feeling that way too, and now are open to looking at what opportunities there may be out there. Now, if you are now in the upper K, congratulations. However, be conscious of the difference between being an employee versus being a business owner. Now, if you are now in the lower K, I also say, do not despair. Maybe this is a sign for you to seek a new opportunity, an opportunity that would launch you to even greater heights. Now, let us look at what is an entrepreneur. Now, if you just look at the definition, it just means it's an individual who creates a new business for themselves while bearing most of the risks and, of course, enjoying most of the rewards. Now, it can sound pretty scary, especially if you have always been an employee. Well, believe me, I know. When I first took my first step into being an entrepreneur, it was pretty scary too. So how can you become an entrepreneur? Now, what type of business is suitable? Now, is it possible to do a business in this new normal and still minimize your financial risk? Now, after this evening sharing, maybe it's time you get that aha moment and just like me, found a possibility for yourself to become an entrepreneur and business owner. So let me share with you how I went about to analyze the business platform, and I'm sure some of these what I share can be very useful to help you in your own evaluation process too. Now, this is how I started analyzing the Avita business opportunity. Now, this is where I really need to thank my engineering and corporate experience because they became really useful. They allow me to evaluate the opportunity in a very systematic manner. So I will just share with you 3 key areas that I evaluated. First is, of course, the product. Whether it's a service or a product, right, must be important. You must have a product or a service to offer to the market. Now, what I learned was that it is best that your product must be a consumable. Now, why is that so? Because when it is a consumable, it generates repeat business. And of course, the product must meet the need of many people. Right? You must also agree that it must fit a growing trend across the world. Of course, if you ask me nowadays, do you want to still sell CDs or sell, tapes? You would probably think twice, but if you are selling something which is in trend, wow, guess what? There must be a need across the world. So it must fit a growing trend across the world. And of course, more important, the product must be effective, safe, and of the highest quality. Right? Without these 3 key paramount stuff, you would want something that even your family would consume with great confidence. Now, of course, the product is one thing. Now that you have located the right product or the right service, the second thing that I looked at was really the business model. Now, the business model, I decided, must provide me with leverage. And that business, preferably can be scaled up quickly, and best if the business is borderless. Right? I mean, nowadays, the world is our market. It's not just Singapore or the country that you stay in. Now, I really want to grow a business just like international franchise of Jollibee's or McDonald's. And of course, finally, having worked so many years in corporate, I know the importance of the company and culture. And for me, very important, I want to get to know the company's leadership, who is leading the flagship. And I want to know who are the people who will be working with me and mentoring me. Now, of course, because being a newbie that comes into this thing, you will want a system where there are a lot of people working with you, teaching you, and then, sharing with you all that they want to know. Now, very important, I want to understand the value system. Because if I want to do something that, is going to be sustainable and be passed down to my generations, it must meet my own values. And I personally must be able to identify these values. So those 3 broad categories, I hope, will help you too, if you are now evaluating some form of business or services. And all this, to me, was important for me to build a sustainable and a meaningful business. Now, let me just share with you my first meridian therapy workshop. Yeah, that was me. And then that lady in the picture was actually the wife of a professional footballer who was actually playing football in China. And they happened to be in Singapore visiting. And I happened to be there, doing a meridian therapy demonstration, and she gallantly volunteered to be my model. So that was, one of my memorable experience. So I still remember my first time I attended a meridian therapy workshop. I remember back then when I first met Alvin, I remember he was doing something with regards to meridian. And back then I was a newbie, I didn't even know what that was. And when I asked him to explain more to me, she said, well, why don't you come and attend one of the workshops? The best is to experience it for yourself. Well, guess what? During that workshop, I was totally blown away, at how a 5,000-year-old TCM, preventive care therapy, can be designed to be so fun and so simple to learn, but hey, yet so effective. When I attended the workshop towards, I guess, the end of it, that's when I realized the secret. It was the power of the Avita TCM herbal essential oils. Right? Now, these oils, which was created by painstaking research by professors from a renowned university in Taiwan. Now, think about it, it was like bottling up energy or chi inside a bottle, making it very easy to use and so powerful. Now, of course, that was just me. So I was wondering, would others also feel the same way that I felt? So what I did was that the next day after the workshop, I was really excited to try out my new skills. So I brought all my oils to a potluck party. Yeah, people brought their chicken, their whatever. I brought my oils. I said I was going to offer free massage for all my friends, So I started doing shoulder gua sha for my friends because that was the only thing I learned in that workshop, right? And to my surprise, all my friends were there at the party, including my Malay friends and so forth. Well, they were all delighted after experiencing the gua sha. In fact, all of them started asking me, hey, I also want to attend the workshop. Where do you learn them? Wow, boom. It was then that I smelled the potential of this set of TCM oils. And that was really how my Avita business took off, really starting with this humble set of TCM herbal essential oils. Now, with these oils, from a corporate standpoint, what I saw was a new TCM blue ocean waiting for me to conquer. Now, after the workshop, I really aspired to have a team of my own, just like what Elwin has. Elwin has an international team that was spans across borders from India to Africa. For myself, I wanted to bring these meridian therapy skills, of course, not just to Singapore, but also, of course, to the country that I came from, Malaysia, then, of course, eventually across the world. And I am proud to say that today, my team has grown from Singapore into Malaysia, Australia, and Cambodia. And these oils are helping many people in many countries, including Malaysia, Cambodia, Hong Kong, Canada, and even USA to have good health. Now, at the same time, what these oils enable me to do is actually help my partners in these countries to build up a business for themselves and create their wealth and financial freedom. Now, I was even more excited when Elwin then introduced me to the star product of Avita. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Selagen from Switzerland. Now, for those who are wondering, which sector of the engineering I work from, I work in the aviation sector. I've always been dealing with the cutting edge technology. And what I saw in Selagen was this. I saw a world-class cellular regeneration Swiss technology. Well, a technology that's able to help people slow down their aging. Well, a technology that can prevent degenerative illness. You know what I smelled then? Wow, I was telling myself, if this does work, even half of what all these people were telling me, I can just see how astronomical the market potential is, especially given today's fast-aging population. In fact, it was a multi-million-dollar global market. So of course, like all good engineers do, right? I decided to put Selagen to the test. Well, not just on myself, on my family too, and especially on my 80-year-old mom who lived on her own in Ipoh back in Malaysia. I'm sure many of my friends here have met my mom because I've always brought her traveling, right? Now, this is my mom. Her name is Karen. And one of my siblings and I saw that over the last 4 years that after taking Selagen, right, she has actually seemed to have grown younger. She has better vitality. She has better energy to enjoy all the things that she loves doing. Of course, and then she plays mahjong, she does her tai chi, she still drives a car around, and she loves traveling. And especially in this period, I'm so grateful to Selagen for keeping my 84-year-old mom healthy and happy. I think that is something that all of us children can at least do, right? To be able to provide for our parents with the quality of life for the rest of their life, right? It's not a matter of how long they live anymore. It's really what kind of quality of life they are living and enjoy all the way till the end of their days. So to me, Selagen is a priceless gift that all of us children can give to our aging parents. Now, let me now introduce you to my good friend, Jermaine. Now, this is Jermaine. She is a TCM physician. Now, her late mom at 92 years of age back then was suffering from many degenerative illness. So Germaine decided to give Celagen to her mother. Well, it definitely gave her a much better quality of life till her passing last year. Now, I'm very grateful to have Germaine as one of my business partners today. Now, she is one of the rare TCM physicians who practice integrative preventive care. She combines the best of the East and the West. And thanks to Germaine, our network expanded all the way into Cambodia. And it was thanks to this beautiful lady called Daphne. Now, Daphne was a good friend of Germaine for more than 15 years. Daphne runs her own business in Cambodia for more than 10 years. And what happened is, Daphne's daughter, Nicole, had chronic insomnia and anxiety. And then, Germaine and myself, we helped to educate Daphne and then taught her starting with some simple meridian therapy using the Avita herbal oils and eventually Celagen. Wow. And then over time, Nicole resolved her insomnia issue and she was back to her old happy, bubbly self again. Now, of course, some of you at this juncture may be wondering, hey, so how did this Celagen fare in these new normals? Hey, the fact is Celagen is thriving in these challenging times. Very important because of its ability to help the body to strengthen the immune system. Now, we all know that the only true defense against the virus or whatever variants it be, from alpha, delta, lambda, whatever it is, right? They will continue to mutate. And whatever the strongest defense weapon that you can have in this time is actually a very strong body immune system. Now, in fact, we are so happy that over the last 2 years, we have had many cases of individuals who had contracted COVID, and Celagen that helped them through with fast recovery and minimize the effects. In fact, we even have an associate whose brother came down with COVID in New York, and then she actually got sent him Celagen in New York, and then after taking it, and this is how he described as the recovery that he has was short of being miraculous, right? And Celagen has certainly helped many of these people with COVID got better faster. And then for many of them, it actually has helped to boost up their immune system and help strengthen it so that they can put up a better defense against COVID. So Celagen certainly thrive in these new normals. Okay. Now let's go back to the Cambodia. How did I get from Singapore to Cambodia? Now, being an entrepreneur herself, right? Remember, this was Germaine. Germaine introduced the oils to Daphne, and Daphne now learned how to use the oils. And of course, being an entrepreneur herself, now Daphne seized the Avita opportunity and brought it all the way to Cambodia. Now, this is where I truly appreciate the power of the network marketing business model. Now, think about it. I personally do not know anyone in Cambodia. In fact, I've not even visited Cambodia yet. But thanks to this beautiful business model, I was able to expand into this beautiful country. And really all thanks to these two wonderful lady partners of mine. Now, Germaine, who's on the left, who's a TCM physician, where we knew each other from more than 20 years ago. It was from the days when we were actively climbing mountains, taking care in all sorts of outdoor adventure. And how we reconnected was when Germaine attended one of the Meridian workshops. She loved what we were doing, and she decided that, hey, she was going to join me in the business. And through her, I was connected to Daphne. And of course, you know that Daphne used to work together with Germaine in Cambodia. And Daphne being a business owner, entrepreneur, and runs her own company in Cambodia. And really after experiencing how the oils help her daughter, Nicole, Daphne also smelled the business opportunity. So what happened after that, after we got Germaine and Daphne all well-trained, guess what? We brought Meridian 101 and the TCM oils into Cambodia. And our whole plan was to set up Cambodia as the hub. And then once we have grown our business in Cambodia, we would expand all the way right out to the rest of Indochina. So that picture, I'm always very proud of them, right? This is a picture of Germaine and Daphne in 2019. Both of them conducted the first ever Meridian 101 workshop in Cambodia. Super, super proud of them, right? Now, we had a group, if you look at the pictures, we had a group of very enthusiastic mix of locals and expatriates. And many of them, in fact, have now joined us as partners to become their own entrepreneurs in this wellness business and journey. Now, I just love my Cambodian team, where I see how committed they are in learning and applying what they learn. Bear in mind, they are far away, and we have to teach them via the internet. In fact, they are the ones who make me so motivated in wanting to support them. In fact, I'm committed to work with my teams and partners in Cambodia and let Avita create a better life and a better world for all of them. Now, let me just share with you some stories on why I love this business so much and why I'm so passionate about it. Now, meet Lei. Now, Lei is a Cambodian lady, and she is a friend of Daphne. Now, unfortunately, in August 2019, for whatever reasons, could be stress, could be wherever she was diagnosed with Bell palsy. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with what Bell palsy is, it is a health condition that actually leaves your facial muscles paralyzed. And Lei was very depressed and definitely wanted very much to help her. And then, using her training, she realized it was the facial muscles that was affected. So definitely decided to teach Lei how to perform facial gua sha using the Avita TCM oils. And of course, Lei, learning about it, began doing it very diligently every day. And guess what? On the 7th day, Lei can start to feel improvements on her face. And wow, 20 days later, less than a month or so, Lei found that she can now control all her facial muscles. She was so happy, and now she actually is joining Daphne as one of her future business partners. Now, it's cases like this where, today we have a growing base of happy customers in Cambodia. At the same time, through word of mouth, through experiential workshops, through talks, we also attracting many potential business partners there. In fact, we look forward to expanding into the rest of Indochina in the coming years. Now, it is really stories like this that reinforces to me why this business is meaningful. Now, not only can I bring good health to those who need it, I'm able also to partner with various people to help them become their own entrepreneurs, and in the process, help them to build a business that brings them wealth. Now, let me introduce you to another beautiful lady, okay? Now, this lady is called Florabelle. Now, Florabelle works in Cambodia, and again, is also a friend of Daphne. And Florabelle actually attended the Meridian 101 workshop while she was in Cambodia. Now, Florabelle is currently back in the Philippines. But because she went back to the Philippines, that's how our network business started to grow into the Philippines. Now, meet Eva. Eva is this cute little 11-year-old teenager now. Eva, because she was reaching the teenage years, started developing a lot of acne on her forehead. Well, she tried using many different types of creams, medication, but hey, none of it helped. And Florabelle, using her Meridian therapy training, taught her how to use forsythia oil. And she applied it on her acne 2 to 3 times daily. And pretty soon, the acne dries up very quickly and heals with no scars. And because of that, Eva is now so much more confident of herself. And because of Eva's case, her family became believers, right? Now, and from Eva, guess what? We end up helping a little pretty girl called Francesca. During the lockdown in Philippines, Francesca actually encountered a very high fever and a very painful stomach. And it was very challenging back then to visit the doctor because Philippines was all in the lockdown. And so the mom, upon consulting Florabelle, decided to apply a certain oil mix that we taught her on her chest and her stomach and her back. Wow, after just 1 hour, the temperature of a fever reduced from 38.5 to 37.5, and then subsequently became normal. And her stomach pain also subsided. And of course, since then, whenever she feels uncomfortable, she would actually go up to the mom and ask for the Avita oils to be applied on her. Now, these stories I tell just highlight how the business can travel across borders seamlessly. Now, even with Florabelle back in Philippines, she can still put her skills and knowledge to good use, and she can still attract partners to work with her. And we communicate with her over Zoom, regularly. And this is how we can work closely together and grow a team of partners across borders. I'm happy to say that today we have a growing base of happy customers in Cambodia and really looking forward to expanding this to the rest of Indochina. Now, unlike a conventional business, we expand our Avita business through what we call word of mouth marketing. We promote through social media. We promote by connecting one friend to another, to another, to another. And in that process, we basically build up a never-ending global business network. Now, what's interesting is, remember we talked about risk? We do not need to pay rentals. Yeah, in fact, I do not pay rentals for my Avita business. I do not pay any salary. The company supports us with administrative support, logistics, and accounting. And what we focus on is really sales, marketing. Get it out there, get people experience. We talk to them about business. We talk to them about health. And a business can't get more exciting than this. Now, what I love is that Avita is a Singapore company. Now, this is something you really appreciate only when you start doing a global business. When you go to the countries like Cambodia, Thailand, and you mention Singapore, Singapore is a premium brand. In fact, Singapore companies have a reputation for trustworthiness and high integrity. And this has really been helpful for us in opening doors when I expanded my Avita business across Asia and the rest of the world. And of course, remember I was saying that, I've always been curious, I want to know who are the leaders behind Avita. And of course, it's thanks to this lady. This lady is called Miss Lee Xiang Ying. We favorite, all of us call her Miss Lee. She's also the founder and CEO of Avita. Now, Miss Lee has this very inspiring logo, right? Her whole purpose of setting up Avita was for this, for a better life, for a better world. In many ways, right? I mean, it brings health to people who need it brings preventive health. And for those people who aspire to set up a business for themselves, right? It also lets us provide a better life for ourselves and our family. And in the process, we create a better world. These lines have always stuck with me. Now, these lines also tells me a lot of what matters to Miss Lee and the reason and the purpose behind her setting up Avita. But nothing really beats the personal and up-close experience I had with Miss Lee. Now, this was 2017. Remember, my mom loved traveling. So I brought my mom on a Avita Voyager trip, to Taiwan. And what I realized that, wow, throughout the trip, Miss Lee always took the time to have a word with my mom and ask after her welfare. Now, she was like a big mother to everybody, okay? Not just to my mom. I actually realized that, everyone else on that trip was very well looked after. In fact, when we go on the Avita trip, right, it was like going on a trip with a big extended family, right? Big extended international family. And to me, that touched me greatly and remained in my mind till today. And every time that, I brought my mom along for the past 3 or 4 Voyager trip, Miss Lee is always the same. In fact, because now she recognizes my mom, she will ask after my mom. And then, what to me that means, I always believe that a leader who cares is really a leader who we can count on through thick and thin, through good and bad times. Now, I'm very confident that with Miss Lee helming up Avita, this is the place where I will make my millions and more. In fact, Avita is like family to me. Now, I personally love traveling. I love adventure, right? And of course, like I said, I would love to have an international family in my network. And certainly, Avita has provided me with that opportunities. With 14 countries and still growing, right? This is essentially a global franchise. And we are talking about a 2 billion market size. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if we are looking at market potential, right, this is what you should be looking at. I realize this is really my opportunity to grow my global Avita network franchise. And all I have to do is to connect friends, share this amazing opportunity, and support them to succeed in this business. Very much like how Elwin and many of the senior associates here had supported me. So let me share with you how I got started in 2016, where I am now, and where I am heading to. Now, essentially, there are 7 ranks in the Avita business. The first 3 ranks are what we call the customer ranks. They start with a VIP rank, a silver associate rank, and a gold associate rank, right? SA and a GA, right? Now, promotion from a VIP all the way to gold is just automatic. It's basically based on accumulated purchases. Now, what is more important is what I would term the next 4 ranks. These are what we call the business builder ranks. Now, these ranks are the platinum director, the diamond president, the pearl ambassador, and the crown ambassador. Now, these are what we term business builders. Why is that so? Because all these 4 ranks are entitled to share in 1% of the global sales. So imagine that, when globally everybody does well all together, right? All these 4 ranks will benefit from the profit sharing, you can call it. So you can think about it, they are like unnamed shareholders of the company. Now, from my corporate experience in an MNC, I was very excited when I first saw this structure. Now, what I could immediately relate to was, the platinum director is like a CEO of your own company with your own team of partners. And as your network grows larger, right, the diamond is something like a country CEO. And in fact, the pearl ambassador and of course the crown ambassador will be something like the regional CEO and the global CEO. Now, of course, when I studied the opportunity properly and I've, made up my decision, I wish to waste no time to build up my Avita network business. So what I did, I invested in what we call the business startup position. That is the Gold Associate business, because this is the closest rank to the first business builder rank of a platinum director. Now, what's important is while holding down a full-time job, I work my Avita business with a full-time mentality, right? Now, I got promoted to become a platinum director and achieved my first baby steps to be a CEO of my own network. And I'm so excited to be working with like-minded partners right now to help them achieve their own CEO dreams. Now, this in turn will pave my way towards my goal to challenge for Diamond President in 2021 and achieve my goal in 2022. Now, so for those of you who are ready to embrace change, for those of you who want to thrive in the new normal, for those of you who aspire to be CEO of your own global network, I really invite you to get started as a GA today with us. Now, bear in mind, investing in a GA startup position is only the beginning. So what is the key to building up a successful Avita business? Right? Now, what I realized is this, the Avita education system, right? Very important to me is what had enabled me to be a success in Avita was 2 things. First is the Avita education system, and second was upline mentorship. Now, it was interesting because despite having 3 decades of corporate and management experience, I've gained tremendously and grown so much from the Avita training. And what I realized over all these past 4 years, the Avita education system, this is the secret duplication weapon that will enable your network to grow fast and grow wide. Now, I really see the potential of many corporate executives combining their experiences, just like myself, together with the Avita education system and form a new breed of network business leaders in this new normal. Now, in fact, what I see is COVID-19 hurricane that came may have wiped out millions of jobs. And I'm sure many will be gone post-COVID-19. And I see this Avita education system as the new MBA that offers the chance for today's corporate professionals to be transformed into the new entrepreneurs in the new normal. Now, what I was impressed with is the comprehensive coverage of the Avita education system. It doesn't just cover individual competency, knowledge, and skills. It also covers team effectiveness, communication, and leadership. Now, I personally have witnessed many of my team members undergone what I say metamorphosis. From being a shy little caterpillar, wow, to a confident, colorful butterfly. Now, from cannot do to wow, I have a bunch of can do business partners that, you can't really get more excited when you have a group of enthusiastic business partners that, can do everything can do, right? Personally, I see Avita much more than just a global business that will make me millions. I really cherish Avita for surrounding me with like-minded, positive, can-do entrepreneurs who encourage each other on and lift each other to greater height. In fact, I would say Avita is my second family, a family that works hard together, a family that have fun together, where we champion meaningful social projects together. We come together to co-create a better life and a better world, right? Now, I would at this juncture, like to invite all my new friends here to join us in the breakout room, okay? Be a short 15 to 20 minutes, and there you can kind of meet our leaders, have a good, insightful discussion. Yeah, and then share your one big takeaway from, my sharing just now. Now, you do not have to do anything. You just need to be teleported to your rooms. Elvin, are we ready for teleportation?
Yes, we are ready. See you all in the room.
You and if somebody offers you an...
You didn't share the slide?
Oh, I did share a slide here. Oh, okay. Sorry. And then... Okay. Ta-da! Can everybody see that now? Okay, good. Welcome back. Now, this is one of my favorite mentor. That's Richard Branson. Richard just came back from space, for those who have been keeping up with the news. And Richard had this to say: opportunity favors the bold. And if somebody today offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure you can do it, say yes first, then learn how to do it later. Okay. Now, for me, when Elvin offered me the Avita opportunity in 2016, I said yes. I learned. I built and achieved my platinum directorship in 2017. Now, my yes has actually set me on the path to be the next Richard Branson. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today your friend who cares about you has offered you the Avita opportunity. Are you saying yes? Thank you and good night. Now, pass it back to my lovely host, Lok Huang.
Thank you, Orchid, for sharing your experiences and how it is possible to be an entrepreneur in a new normal. And again, all right, as I sat through your talk, I have benefited tremendously from your tonight's sharing. For me, my biggest takeaway was the quote that you just shared with us from Richard Branson, and that is, if your friend offers you an opportunity, just take it. It is the same with me when Daphne, my friend, offered me the opportunity to be that health and wealth entrepreneur. I just said yes, even though at that point in time, I wasn't even sure how to go about doing it. I've never been in a business at all. But today, together with the Avita team, I have learned the how to, and I have not looked back since then. And like what Kate had just mentioned, the fact that you're here tonight means that that friend who invited you cares enough to share this amazing opportunity with you. I'm going to ask the same question that Kate asked just now, and that is, are you ready to say yes? With that, all right, it has been a wonderful evening in which we have a very experienced PD to share with us his journey as he traveled through the entrepreneurship journey. So before we say goodnight, can everybody switch on your camera for us to take a photograph? Elvin, can you do us the honor of taking a photograph? Okay, we have a number
I say
of pages.
yes.
Yes.
All right, is everybody ready?
Okay, have your emoji on, have the heart shape on.
Okay,
say
give a big
yes.
smile. 1, 2, 3. All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And all right, a wonderful good night, all right, to all of you. We want to see you around, all right. We want you to join in the Avatar family. Good night.
Thank you, Kit. Thank you, Doc. Yes, yeah.
Welcome.
Well done.
OK 了，我们自己人了。